This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Hey, what's up? It's Mario Lopez. Back to school is an exciting time, but it can also be overwhelming, and kids may feel isolated, a vulnerability that human traffickers can exploit. Human trafficking doesn't always look like what you expect. Everyday moments can become opportunities for someone with bad intentions. Whether you're a parent, teacher, coach, or neighbor, check in, ask questions, stay connected. Blue Campaign is a national awareness initiative that provides resources to help recognize suspected instances of human trafficking. Learn the signs and how to report at dhs.gov/Blue Campaign.
Come on. Why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity. With Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
Saks Off 5th is your secret to fashion's most wanted deals at up to 70% off. On the hunt for designer steals that'll turn heads and leave a trail of envy? Uncover Gucci, Valentino, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more, with new arrivals dropping weekly at prices too good to stay confidential. Luxe layers, statement boots, and tailored essentials from Saks Off 5th will put your wardrobe on the most wanted list. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for a style lineup you won't want to miss.
Hey, Rubes, this football season, Bell Bank is giving one KFAN listener each week $1,000 to pay it forward to a charity of their choice. Just head over to KFAN.com, keyword contest to learn more and enter today. That's KFAN.com, keyword contest.
So because Deuce and I spend a lot of time chatting and jabbering during the National Football League coverage on Sunday afternoons, I missed this. I'm told by a couple 13, 14 text messengers that CBS left the Vikings game early, too. They just said, okay, we're going to take you to a more competitive game. They went to Patriots versus... Who are the Pats playing?
I'm wondering if that's a different market, right? Like if they live like an outstate or something.
Well, no, that's what yeah, of course. Yeah, they didn't take it out of Minnesota. No, that's what they did. That's what I was saying. That's when I was talking about the Detroit-Baltimore game. If you were in the Baltimore area or Detroit area, they didn't take you away from that game. But if it's in other markets, they just go, we're out. So I can't remember who at New England was playing. That was a good. There were a lot of competitive games yesterday. I don't know how good these teams are, but there was plenty of action yesterday. Who did New England play? Do you remember offhand?
Why can't I think of it?
I can't either because I watched the game. We've got the Sunday ticket going. Plus,
they played Pittsburgh. They lost by a tutty.
Yeah, so that was a fairly good game as well. But anyway, so it does happen when games get out of hand. They go elsewhere. Now, Tenby, I think you noticed this as well as I did last week during Kevin O'Connell's day after the game news conference. His dauber was down, as the kids like to say. He sounded very beaten, very dejected, almost to the point of being despondent. And I'm kind of thinking that's going to be a little different today because that was a complete and thorough beating. Now, as a couple of people pointed out, here's a text message that came in. This one says, comment, last Lions versus Baltimore was 38-6, 34 Zippo after 3. It was a great game by the Skol, but Bengals D is right there with Dallas and New Orleans as worst in the NFL. Competent QB play is what this team needs. Brosmer looks more polished than JJ. Thoughts? Yeah, Brosmer, I don't know what to think of McCarthy. The one thing I do think is you don't give up on him, obviously. You traded up, 10th pick overall. All the kid does is win until last week. But somebody else asked this too, Tennessee. They said 20 seconds, 20-yard line, 2 timeouts, Vikes, Neal, why not let Brosmer try and go for it. You just don't do that in the NFL.
No.
You don't run up scores on the other teams because the other teams remember that. And then it's just a bad look for the coach. Then all of a sudden the rest of the coaching fraternity goes, I mean, you've already, is it Zach? Who's the head coach for the Bengals? Zach Taylor? Is that his name?
Yes.
So Zach Taylor already knows. They're already embarrassed over there by the beatdown they've taken, right? And if you all of a sudden decide we're going to throw up one more score just because we want our rookie quarterback to know what it feels like to throw, that's not how it's played. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. I know there are people that go, stop us. Well, there are times you say stop us, and there's times you don't. And that was a time where you just let the clock run out. You don't do that to another coach. I don't think, anyway.
No.
There is some, what's the word I'm looking for?
It's not like it was Brosmer's only chance of the game.
Yeah.
He had other series.
Yes.
I felt bad for Brosmer because his first pass he threw was an absolute dime.
Yes.
And Thielen just dropped it. And then his next pass is just a screen pass to the running back, and they drop it.
Oh, you know what I learned yesterday? Tenneby, I didn't know this, but I learned this, that it's not just a dime, but they're called dots. Had you heard that one before? I saw it today in one of the fish wrap stories, and Deuce told me that too. He threw an absolute dot, meaning you threw it right on the money. So I kind of like that as well. So, yeah, and again, you said it, and I've said it forever. Yeah, the Bengals obviously, even with Burrow, as you mentioned, the teams they beat early really don't have much to write home about. But it's better to beat down a team that's not very good than struggle with them. And it looked like, as we talked about, Bengals under what's his face. I can't remember the Browning. Were driving. They were driving down the ball down the field. I mean, it looked like they were at least going to get a field goal out of that and make it tight for halftime. This even 17-6 isn't close, but say, hey, we scored. We and the tip ball. That was I can't remember. That was the fumble recovery, wasn't it?
Harrison Smith tipped the
interception. But which one was the one that just that changed the complexion when it was 17-3?
That was Zay Rogers. He punched it out and then recovered it himself and returned it.
So that one was the fumble recovery, and that just changed the whole game right there. Now it's suddenly 24-3, and then as we mentioned, I think in less than 2 minutes the Vikings put up two more scores. And then at that point, it's like we take you to another game.
Because the Bengals fumbled again.
Yeah, we take you to another game that's more competitive. Was it 4 turnovers altogether the Vikings forced?
That was 5.
5 turnovers. You force 5 turnovers, you're never going to lose a game. Maybe once in a blue moon, but otherwise, you're just never going to lose football games that way. That's why it's in the is it Fant? He was carrying he was carrying the ball like a loaf of bread too. Sometimes these guys. Sometimes ball security with some players doesn't seem to be a top priority, and I don't know why. He was just kind of hanging out of that, kind of holding it out there, and too bad for him. Just Johnny on the spot was. I
will say, like in previous years, I've always seen players around the National Football League do that, where they're the defenders are punching at the ball.
Yep.
As they're tackling, and I've always thought, why do the Vikings never do this? Like we never get fumbles forced that way. And then it happened multiple times yesterday. So thankfully, B-Flow apparently teaches. I'm like, why doesn't every NFL team teach it? They all should be. And then 2, at this point, should the players on offense now be expecting that?
Yeah.
Since it's becoming more common. Yeah,
punching the ball out. And I know that sometimes if you're unsuccessful and that means you didn't try for a tackle, you might, the ball carrier might get more yardage out of it. But man, you're right. Punching the ball out's the turnovers is what that's what changed that entire game. That one turnover completely went from a game that could have possibly been 17-14. We'll never know. And suddenly it's 24-3. And at that point it was, as they say in tennis, it was game, set, and match. As we tap dance here waiting for Kevin O'Connell for his day after the game news conference. Did you see the Royce Lewis, the ominous quote from Royce Lewis?
No, I didn't see the quote. No. I know he went yard.
Yeah, well, he went yard. But then he had a quote. You'll like this. Give me 1 second.
By the way, For the last month or two, since the Twins basically have just completely sold it in and packed it in, I have paid so little attention to baseball until I read the Twins Guardians Gamer today in the Star Tribune. I had no idea the Guardians were playing yesterday's game to tie the Tigers in the AL Central. I'm like, where did this come from?
They were at one point, was it 12 games back as of just a few weeks ago? And they up until the loss to the Twins yesterday, they had won was it 10 or 11 in a row, and Detroit was like,
they've lost 6 in a row, and
and they were 2-8 in their last 10. And the Tigers have now, or the Guardians have cut it to 1.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But there was the quote from Royce Lewis today. I saw this in the Fish Wrap Factory West Side Phil Miller story. It said, blah, 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 blah. It says, there was another reason his 13th home of the season was particularly gratifying. He said, one that caused some curious looks by those he was talking to. You never know if it's going to be your last at-bat here or what. You never know. And he was not asking to be traded, but he said, is he expecting to be traded? And he said, it has crossed my mind, but we don't know what direction. I can't control anything. And the Twins have traded a number of players. It was 11 players at the trade deadline. And some of them, again, much like Lewis, I think the Twins still have 2 or 3 years of control of Lewis before he becomes eligible for free agency. And the same was with Duran, right? Wasn't he 2 more years of team control? So it's not as though the Twins are opposed to trading key players, good players, kind of cornerstone players that the team still has control over. I don't think anybody, I don't even know if the poll lads know what they're going to do, to be honest with you.
I think they're going to cut more.
Yeah, I think they probably will. I mean,
I could see a guy like Joe Ryan.
Yeah.
Because he's going to have to get paid eventually.
Yeah.
I could see him just letting him go now.
And then Lopez was injured again. Now, they don't think it's very serious. But they shut him down for the rest of the year because I think he only had 1 or 2 more starts yet for cautionary reasons. They're shutting him down. But, yeah, could they – and Lopez is their highest priced player. So could they part ways with Lopez? Could they part ways with Ryan, Lewis? And, they're key players right now that seem to be – would be the 2 pitchers, right? Ryan and Lopez. Buxton had his best year ever, health-wise particularly, but I don't think he had a better offensive year either. Lewis, after his last month has been better. I think I saw in that story today that, when he first came back, he was off. And he says he came back early was because he was doing it for the team because they were still kind of in it. And he thought, if I come back, and then he said that caused to re-aggravate that injury. But you got Lewis, and then you got, Keishel looks like a good player, and a couple of others. But, yeah, you're right. They're probably just going to do away with all of them, just let them all.
I think they're going to cut a bunch of salary.
Yeah. Head coach, now if we break, now he'll start, right?
Probably.
So what do you want to do?
We can give it a try.
Try to take a break and come back?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. We'll break. We'll come back and hear from the head coach after this, right here on The Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's Mario Lopez. Back to school is an exciting time, but it can also be overwhelming, and kids may feel isolated, a vulnerability that human traffickers can exploit. Human trafficking doesn't always look like what you expect. Everyday moments can become opportunities for someone with bad intentions. Whether you're a parent, teacher, coach, or neighbor, check in, ask questions, stay connected. Blue Campaign is a national awareness initiative that provides resources to help recognize suspected instances of human trafficking. Learn the signs and how to report at dhs.gov/Blue Campaign.
This message is sponsored by Greenlight. With school out, summer is the perfect time to teach our kids real-world money skills they'll use forever. Greenlight is a debit card and the #1 family finance and safety app used by millions of families, helping kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. Parents can send their kids money and track their spending and saving, while kids build money confidence and skills in fun ways. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/iHeart. That's greenlight.com/iHeart.
Saks Off 5th is your secret to scoring fashion's most wanted deals at up to 70% off. On the hunt for designer steals that'll turn heads and leave a trail of envy? Uncover Gucci, Valentino, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more top designers at prices too good to stay confidential. Dare to get caught up in luxe layers, statement boots, fall denim, and bohemian dresses from Saks Off 5th that'll put your wardrobe on the most wanted list. Men's must-haves are here too, with tailored essentials, cozy sweaters, sneakers, and designer accessories for every fall mission. With new arrivals dropping weekly at Saks Off 5th, the pursuit for the ultimate find is always on. Whether you're looking for a seasonal wardrobe refresh, shopping for a specific occasion, or just want to get inspired, Saks Off 5th is your partner in crime for the big score. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for up to 70% off every day. This is a style lineup you won't want to miss.
Would you guys consider anything less than a championship to be a failure from this year?
I wouldn't say anything is a failure, especially because we all grow every day. Obviously, the goal is a championship. There's no doubt in that, and that's the goal. We want to win a championship.
I'm Christina Williams, host of the podcast, In Case You Missed It with Christina Williams. The WNBA playoffs are here, and I've got the inside scoop on everything from key matchups and standout players to the behind-the-scenes moments you won't find anywhere else.
It's really, really hard to be the champions, but we have to remember how it feels and embrace the new challenge that we have.
For all the biggest stories in women's basketball, plus exclusive interviews with the game's brightest stars.
So to be here, I think it's one that we definitely don't take for granted. But we also know, that's just one stop along the way, and we're hoping to, make a run.
So listen to In Case You Missed It with Christina Williams, an iHeart Women's sports production in partnership with Deep Blue Sports and Entertainment on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program?
Sure.
Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryan text line.
Oh, cool.
Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
The head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings wants his voice to be heard on the fan, and he's doing it right now. Let's go live to the new Winter Park TCO Performance Center.
Very encouraging tape for our whole football team to watch. A lot of things we emphasized last week, what we thought it would take to win the game, showed up in many ways, times X of just showing up. Thought our leaders of our team would kind of drive where things would go for the whole week, and they did that from start of the week, coming off of last week's opportunity that we did not play well and we didn't coach well enough, play well enough. I thought our whole team kind of responded the right way, and we saw what it could look like. Still, like I mentioned after the game, I think the penalties, we got to continue to work to rectify that, regardless of the moving parts of who's in and new center, new quarterback, or CD getting his first opportunity. Still think we've got to find a way to eliminate those, and we'll be able to have even more of a rhythm on offense. But there's some great performance in the kicking game, both our punter and kicker, and also just some individual players in the coverage and blocking phase. And then defensively was clearly a fantastic effort all the way around. Just giving you guys an update. Don't really have an update on Hargrave. He came out sore, but in a good spot. Should be able to work through the week and be available. And then one just addition, Ben Jurosik came out with a knee contusion. Thought he did a great job battling through it throughout the game, especially when we started pulling some guys there with quite a bit of the football game left. We'll see how his week goes. We do have Nick Vanette on the roster as well right now, so we'll be in good shape at that position. And then lastly, wanted to update you guys on Donovan Jackson. he suffered a wrist injury against Atlanta that was deemed to, be something that would require surgery. He did have that this morning in Los Angeles as part of a planned surgery. It was determined last week that he could play in the football game and not do any further harm. And just want to first and foremost highlight a young player who played a fantastic football game, but to do it in those circumstances and be willing to, without any hesitation, be out there with his team. We're already down some guys in the interior who will return this week, but I thought Donovan was fantastic on the field, and just what that means within the standing amongst the locker room and his teammates. Just fantastic. So he will be able to, this is not a short-term IR thing. This is a procedure that, like I said, successfully took place this morning. And we're hoping to be able to use the bye, part of that timeline to have Donovan back as soon as possible. But he's off to a great start in his career, everything we hoped he would be. And yesterday was, a big-time day for so many layers for him as a young player, showing his toughness, showing his commitment, and being a huge part of our ability to not only run the football but just be effective on offense yesterday. So moving forward to this week, great opportunity for us over these next few days to have really good preparation before we leave Thursday evening. We'll handle this game very similar to how we've handled our international trips the last 2 times we've went to London to play. We'll just be going to Dublin for the first game, and then we will be able to have a normal game week from there once we transition from Dublin to London. And so really looking at it as a 2-part trip that all of us here, players, coaches, staff, the great resources that we do have to help put together trips like this. I am looking at it as a phenomenal opportunity for a lot of reasons for our team to continue to gel together and bond. This is a close-knit group, but my expectation is you go on a little field trip for 10 days, you got a great opportunity to keep growing together. And I think we've learned here, dealing with some adversity, either in-game versus Chicago and finding a way to win, and then the demonstration of being able to come back and play like that the way we should play at home in front of our great fans. They were phenomenal, but the adversity of the week 2 disappointment and handling it the right way and coming back and playing well. So the growth of this team early on in the season is evident to me, and now we've got to start, like we talked about post-game yesterday. Now it's just about the consistency of understanding what it's got to be like from the practice field to the game.
Is wearing women's underwear part of your journey?
Optimistic about Ryan and school. Both those guys are kind of they were able to get some limited work on Friday, which then allows them to clear any last few hurdles here medically, before, hopefully long before Wednesday's practice rolls around, and they should have somewhat of a normal week of preparation and be available.
Kevin, the numbers had Carson getting rid of the ball in about 2.5 seconds. Just what do you think was working for him in terms of getting rid of the ball quickly?
Yeah, I thought going back over the tape, it felt like it in the game, but I thought he was very sharp fundamentally. And there was quite a few reps where the ground is the quarterback's friend from a standpoint of keeping your foundation or your base balance and body position in the ground, and so you can make quick decisions. I thought he progressed multiple times. I thought he threw with anticipation. I thought he really got into, once we got into the meat of the game, which can be hard sometimes, which we'll take when the defense is scoring points on the other side. But the first drive was fantastic. Then we had some kind of early, third down, third and shorter, where we had a penalty to push us back, and they were able to get us off the field. And then as the game went on, I just thought he did a really nice job of playing point guard, throwing completions, allowing guys to win. And then, when number one wasn't there, he progressed and found open players. And I thought our run game clearly was effective a lot of the game, and that was an all-11 approach. I thought the offensive line did a really nice job along the line of scrimmage, with the tight ends being a major part of it as well. And can't talk about Adam Thielen and Jalen Naylor, and really Justin Jefferson as well, showing up all over the tape from a play style standpoint. Just, you started to lose count of the amount of times we got an efficient run with JP finishing forward, and there were 4 or 5, 6 Vikings there finishing right around the ball. To, have Vikings picking up Vikings after efficient runs is only going to lead to really positive things throughout the course of the day. So, but yeah, I was really happy with the way Carson kind of maintained and continued and even grew his efficiency and how he's looked on the practice field. It showed up in the game. That's why I was not surprised in any way, shape, or form.
What did you like best about Christian Darrisaw's performance in this season?
I just, watching it, you can see his impact. The best part of the tape was seeing after we put the ball in the end zone, running the ball from the 4-yard line on the last one, 5-yard line there late in the first half. Really kind of right behind CD and some double teams inside, Josh Oliver and TJ. So, I think it was that you could see this is a guy that's celebrating as if he had the ball in his hands, and just the joy he had to be back on the field and the way he was able to cut it loose and play at a really high level for his first time back. Challenging opponent, clearly, really good player that he was going against on the other side, and I think he's now got kind of that last bit of confidence needed, check that box, and now CD should be in a great position moving forward. I do want to just, we're going to have a plan for CD, how the practice weeks go, that is structured, in ink of what we think is best for him to be at his best on Sundays moving forward. So I would not, read too much into any one-off days where we maybe give him a day here or there, and we're going to start getting into the point in the season where that will be the case with some other players as well. But both, CD, CD, Gink, although 8 snaps, was obviously very effective in his 8 snaps, and then Harry immediately makes his presence felt, getting a hand on a football that led to our first touchdown by Zay.
Kevin, when you have Harrison Smith back, how much does that change the defense in terms of disguises and checks?
Yeah, you guys probably felt it. The disguises, the timing of certain things, the synced up feeling of our defense all day. I thought Flo called a great game as well, and kind of, Harry being out there probably led to some of that as well. But it was a combination of Flo, the staff, and then between having Gink and Harry back for however limited it was, it just provided a sense of calm amongst the chaos they're trying to cause that is kind of part of our secret sauce on defense, and they made it come to life in an extraordinary way.
Kevin, if Donovan was cleared to play this past game, why have the surgery now?
I think my interpretation of it is an injury where you do want to get it fixed in a timely manner to enhance the ability for the success of it. And it was not really a 3 or 4 or 5 days as much as, you don't want to ask a young player to try to make a decision like that, knowing, specifically Blake will, step in, and, he was able to seamlessly step in once CD's day had kind of wrapped up at tackle. Now Blake, hopefully with RK coming back in the middle, you've got a guy that started 18 games a year ago at that left guard spot, available to come in, and had a great training camp. And Blake's shown his versatility and that impact, but we want to make sure we get Donovan healthy and use the time that we have allotted to maximize as many games as we can get, hopefully with him healthy coming off of this.
So when he comes off the field gushing blood out of his nose, are you thinking, what else can go wrong up front here?
It's crazy to say this, but I was actually very relieved when I got out there and quickly saw what it was. But yeah, there's some times up here where I'm sure what I'm saying is being absorbed as coach speak, but me talking about Donovan this afternoon is not one of those times. For him to do what he did was huge for us, and win because of type of performance, coupled with mentally going through the process of the week, the layers to it with how comprehensive and detailed we are with the medical staff, both in-house here, outside, evaluations and things, just making sure we were absolutely being smart about this. And, all along, Donovan just had that feel where, hey, I'm playing, I can play, I'm going to play. And I'm sure he would possibly try to fight through it and worry about everything later. But sometimes you have to do what's in the best interest, especially of a really talented young player who we have really high aspirations on for not only the present but the future.
Tracy Wilson on CBS yesterday said that they're planning to JJ that on the field after the bye. Is that accurate?
I would not say that's accurate. I would just say that that probably stems off the conversation of him making the trip with us, and I think what is accurate is the idea of no matter how much I believe JJ would go out there and tough it out today, tomorrow, if we asked him to. To me, at this point in a very young career, his mobility is one of his weapons that has clearly already shown to be something that's a positive for him. So we want to make sure he's healthy and allow this to be something that we can put in the rearview mirror and continue on with where he's at in his young career here. So, but yeah, we're going to take it a day at a time. He responded well to treatment early on. He's out of the boot, and now it just becomes the phase of high ankle kind of rehab that we're going to hopefully be able to get him get him back up to speed pretty quickly. And I think he, going on the trip and being around the team, we'll only have 2 players, I believe, not make the trip, and that'll be Gavin Bartholomew and Ty Chandler, just with where they're at kind of individually, but everybody else, including Donovan, after he returns later today or tomorrow morning from Los Angeles, he will go on the trip as well.
So when JJ is healthy, are you 100% committed that he's going to be back on the field?
Yeah, I think, the first and foremost, he's got to get healthy. And then throughout that process, it's not just, I don't think it's one of those things where it's, hey, the day he's healthy, and if he's healthy the night before a game, we're going to just throw him out there and say, hey, go figure it out type of thing. I think we saw, as phenomenal as he was getting prepared for the Atlanta game, he did miss practice that week. And when you're in the phasing of building up the 10,000 reps and 10,000 hours of what it takes to play the position at a very high level, which we know J.J. McCarthy is going to do, you can't cut corners on that. And that also doesn't require an answer on that question today. I think our goal was to win a football game yesterday. We're in the day after of that. We've had our players in. We're preparing for another, top tier opponent, and I think we've got to have another really good week of preparation. And then you add on the layers to travel and making sure our players have the utmost confidence in how we're handling the trip and building it, progressively throughout the week till we get another opportunity, which we're really excited about.
When you talk about Carson being able to progress quickly, how much of a quarterback's ability to do that kind of goes into that 10,000 hours, that experience that he has to decipher things quickly? Yeah, I mean, it's what allows players to play with poise and conviction, and when you couple that with firm and repeatable fundamentals, normally within the lower half of the quarterback's mechanics, you tie those things together, then you have a system, then you have rhythm, then you have the ability for, it's very difficult for a defense to take away all 5 eligibles. I thought our protection, because the way we were able to kind of have some body blows by running the ball, I thought our protection was solid for the most part. It got loose there on a couple internal games here and there, but many of the times we stayed efficient with the chains, and we stayed efficient in some cases not having many third downs in the course of some of our scoring drives. That equals rhythm too. So it's a combination of the individual player and all 11 individual players doing their job, maybe on that 1st and 10, maybe on that 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4, in some cases 2nd and 20 when you steal 15 yards back with Justin getting single covered. Sometimes it's the reactionary ability to still consistently play with the rhythm and the poise and the decision making, and all that becomes much easier when you're taking the right footwork and you're balanced throughout the drop and reading with your feet. That can be an incredible weapon for a quarterback, whether they've played 20 years or they've played 2 games. That is an incredible weapon, and I think there's value in JJ seeing that. We were talking late last night, texting and kind of just talking about the game and just kind of what he experienced, because I thought, Josh made this point multiple times, how engaged JJ was. I mean, he was very, he was over there with the Surface tablet with Carson, talking about some looks that maybe we hadn't prepared for. Hey, did you see this? This is probably going to be this call. And, Josh was pretty jacked up about that. And then JJ just saying, how, by Carson playing in rhythm and maybe progressing quickly on some things, just how much of a point guard feel it kind of had at times. All of that is real positive from a standpoint of, that's the one thing you love about him. He's going to find positives in even a situation where he can't be on the field because of an injury currently, which is growth in my mind, whether he was out there or not.
Kevin, have you guys offensively seen more man coverage than you thought you would early on?
No, and even the man coverage we have seen has come out of the too high, alignments where there's either a interior second or third level helper, so people can play with leverage. There's man coverage where I've got to play right down the middle of my man because there's a 5-man pressure, or I'm not anticipating any help. And then there's layered man coverage where either it's a rolled adjusting program and they can play hard inside leverage. It's an interior double team, which we saw a couple times throughout the game, whether it's the same side safety or a far side safety. So no matter what, if you have hard outside leverage, you probably have it for a reason, because you're probably running into where the help is. And if it's inside leverage, there's probably somebody over the top. So what that requires is, an elite level of technique and a release plan to try to, beat the nearest defender, and then be able to have a plan for the furthest defender away. And people are changing up the looks of whether that of how those double teams kind of come. But I think in the process of that, that's where the progression of the quarterback lies. And, if they're doing all those things, there's probably somebody who had to play it a little bit more straight up around the field. We saw that on, there was a conversion to Jalen Naylor where, regardless of whether it's man or zone, Justin's on the opposite side of the field, TJ's working vertical, trying to win, and then, Speedy ends up winning that inside leverage late, and Carson progresses, pocket movement, completion, first down, and it doesn't seem overly challenging, but yet there's a lot of components to that make those things positive plays. And to me, it's about the voids, the vacancies. It's about finding not everybody on the play with how we build plays is going to have difficult leverage. So if you progress in rhythm, you're going to find that eligible with the leverage that can win. And then our guys are doing a good job winning. And we just got to trust that and keep on pairing the protection with tight fundamentals, techniques, and progressions, and then the receivers just got to keep doing their jobs, which they've been really good at. And I think we're going to start seeing more and more kind of benefit from that showing up in the stat sheet maybe than it has early on in the year.
Oh, you worked Jordan Addison back in this week from his freshman assignment.
Yeah, he's it's phenomenal to get him back. It was just like it was a shot of life for us to get CD Gink and Harry back. It'll be Jordan, it'll be Ryan Kelly, it'll be School being available as well. So we're, although we've had to kind of weather the storm a little bit early on, anytime you can get such impactful players back, it's critical. And I think Jordan, I know he's going to be in great shape. He's been able to be in the building and be in meetings and things to stay sharp mentally. And so now it'll just be getting him a full week of work. And you look at the way, Speedy, Jalen Naylor's been, consistently on tape, one of the guys that pops off the tape. I think Adam Thielen, although, the targets and the reception numbers might not be there, he has been wildly impactful in my mind with some of the jobs we've asked him to do, run game, helping a little bit out on the edges here and there. And then his opportunities will come. We almost had one early on in the game there where Carson tried to find him kind of off of a hard run action where he had to move up in the pocket. And we're going to have some ops like that to add him throughout the year. And now the way I look at it is with Jordan back, we really have 4 starters at that receiver position, and we'll use those guys accordingly and try to keep people fresh and make sure we're maximizing the fact that we've got really good depth at that position.
Time for 2 more questions, guys.
Oh, that's it? I thought there was going to be time for two more, but apparently that is not the case. And so that's the head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings with this day after the game news conference. Closed circuit to stations along the line of the Common Man Radio Network. We will straddle the 45. So our next break is upcoming shortly. Tend to be... I just checked with one of my sources. Breaking news, Nick Bosa out for the year. He had a torn ACL. Nick Bosa out for the year. Big blow.
That's no good.
To the San Francisco 49ers. That's according to my source. Hopefully it's accurate. Sometimes my sources, they drink a little bit too much, and sometimes their head's full of a multicolored galaxy of uppers and downers, screamers and laughers. But that's what my source tells me, is that Nick Bosa out for the rest of the season because of a torn ACL. He brought up Adam Thielen at the very end, Tennessee, and Adam returned to the Vikings just before the season started, to much fanfare. Local kid makes good. Of course, he's from Baudette, played at Anoka Ramsey Community College, had a great career, undrafted free agent, started with the Vikings, went to Carolina, and he wanted to go to a team that had a chance to win a big game. He said, of course, Carolina won one game that first year he was there, but, hey, touchdown, 2-point conversion, onside kick. But, yeah, he is not. Now, the coach says, and this is breaking down the all 22 wide that I don't have access to, throwing blocks and setting this and that. But as far as catching passes and such, he has not really been. And he had a drop yesterday, so he's had a couple drops. Yeah, and so and
the passing offense in general through 3 weeks, even yesterday. I mean, they didn't need to pass, so that's why correct. They didn't. But there's not been a very explosive passing offense for 3 games, and he was already behind Jefferson and even Hawkinson yesterday. When Addison comes around, he's not going to get much.
No, I don't. I believe not.
He used to block occasionally. Apparently,
I think you're spot on there. So we'll just have to see how that plays.
No, it's good to have that depth, right? You never know when you're going to have another injury.
Well, if he's, I don't know what's he. I'm still not convinced.
If Addison's dog gets sick, you got to bring him home.
Got that issue. I'm still not convinced. Thielen's. I mean, I'm not saying that. Well, he should retire, but I just don't know if he's still an impact kind of wide receiver at this time. But we'll wait and see. Like you say, maybe as the season goes by. The coach basically said he'll get his chances, he'll get his moments, and we'll find out if that's to be true. A couple of other interesting things, including, is there a quarterback controversy? The coach addressed that. I'm not so sure, but we'll talk about it. Other side of the break, it's the Common Man program along with Tennessee, right here on the Fan.
Hey, what's up? It's Mario Lopez. Back to school is an exciting time, but it can also be overwhelming, and kids may feel isolated, a vulnerability that human traffickers can exploit. Human trafficking doesn't always look like what you expect. Everyday moments can become opportunities for someone with bad intentions. Whether you're a parent, teacher, coach, or neighbor, check in, ask questions, stay connected. Blue Campaign is a national awareness initiative that provides resources to help recognize suspected instances of human trafficking. Learn the signs and how to report at dhs.gov/Blue Campaign.
Saks Off 5th is your secret to scoring fashion's most wanted deals at up to 70% off. On the hunt for designer steals that'll turn heads and leave a trail of envy? Uncover Gucci, Valentino, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more top designers at prices too good to stay confidential. Dare to get caught up in luxe layers, statement boots, fall denim, and bohemian dresses from Saks Off 5th that'll put your wardrobe on the most wanted list. Men's must-haves are here too, with tailored essentials, cozy sweaters, sneakers, and designer accessories for every fall mission. With new arrivals dropping weekly at Saks Off 5th, the pursuit for the ultimate find is always on. Whether you're looking for a seasonal wardrobe refresh, shopping for a specific occasion, or just want to get inspired, Saks Off 5th is your partner in crime for the big score. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for up to 70% off every day. This is a style lineup you won't want to miss.
Would you guys consider anything less than a championship to be a failure from this year?
I wouldn't say anything is a failure, especially because we all grow every day. Obviously, the goal is a championship. There's no doubt in that, and that's the goal. We want to win a championship.
I'm Christina Williams, host of the podcast, In Case You Missed It with Christina Williams. The WNBA playoffs are here, and I've got the inside scoop on everything from key matchups and standout players to the behind-the-scenes moments you won't find anywhere else.
It's really, really hard to be the champions, but we have to remember how it feels and embrace the new challenge that we have.
For all the biggest stories in women's basketball, plus exclusive interviews with the game's brightest stars.
So to be here, I think it's one that we definitely don't take for granted. But we also know, that's just one stop along the way, and we're hoping to, make a run.
So listen to In Case You Missed It with Christina Williams, an iHeart Women's sports production in partnership with Deep Blue Sports and Entertainment on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
KFAN welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I got a whole lot of love. Got a whole lot of love.
For two amazing shows at Target Center on December 28th at 3 p.m. and 7:30 p.m.
Islands in the stream. That is what we are.
Tickets are on sale now.
Still I wonder, till I wonder who stopped the rain.
Get complete show details, including a link to buy tickets at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
So the head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings just addressed the assembled media at the new Winter Park, also known as the TCO Performance Center. Late in that Q&A, he was asked about when J.J. McCarthy is healthy from his high ankle sprain, will he return as the starting quarterback of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings? I think he was a little wishy-washy. I think he said yes, and then he also said, but we don't have to answer that question right now. Speaking of questions, Sammy, one of the age-old ones is, should a starting player, lose his position to injury? It's been asked hundreds of thousands of times. A key player gets hurt, somebody steps in and Wally Pips him. Plays so well that you just go, God, I know that, the guy that was hurt was a good player. He was doing a good job, maybe even a great job, but he got hurt, and the guy that's come in is even better. So what do you do? And I kind of go back and forth a little bit. I don't like to see a player lose his starting job because of an injury. But again, you know how seriously these guys take this in all sports, regardless of what sport it is. Jobs are at stake, livelihoods, especially for not especially for, but including coaching staff. And so if you have a guy that comes in, and let's face it, of the 8 quarters JJ played, one was brilliant. The other 7 were excruciatingly painful. And we talked about this. It wasn't like Wentz went out there and won the game. He drove the team in a blinding snowstorm, 98 yards without any timeouts to punch in for the winning score. Once he was competent, very much so. He completed 17 of whatever, or was it 13 and 7? Whatever his numbers were, they were fine. No interceptions, couple of tutties. The coach described him as a point guard. I guess some people would say game manager, and you know my opinion on game manager. I don't think that's a negative. I just think whatever the game plan calls for, you're able to manage that, whether it calls for having to throw a lot, hand off a lot, whatever the case may be, if you're able to do it. And so let's play it out. Let's say he's good against the Steelers. Matter of fact, he actually helps win the game. He has to make a drive and whatever. And then we play, who's after that? Cleveland. And let's say he's really good against Cleveland again, and then the bye week comes, and after the bye week, JJ's 100% ready to go. Do you think the coach goes to JJ McCarthy in what week would that be then? 6? We'd be what, 4-1?
Yeah.
We'd have a 4-1 record going into our next game against, and do we play Baltimore coming out?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia coming out of the bye. Is that here or there?
Our place.
Do you think he goes with McCarthy, or do you think, under the scenario I just painted, if Wentz is shaky, probably isn't much of a decision, but if Wentz is pretty good, doesn't do anything wrong, he's that point guard, he's competent, helps the team, Do you go to JJ or do you say, no, we got to stick with the guy that's helped us win the last 3 games in a row?
Well, I think part of what you just said about JJ being 100%, I think at that stage they wouldn't acknowledge that he's 100%. I think they do the old, we want to give his ankle a little bit more rest here. Okay. We want to make sure we want to make sure it's 100%. JJ McCarthy starting week 1 here wasn't necessarily because he gave you the best chance to win now, right? It might have been they might have thought he gives you the best chance to win now, but you were starting him because this is a guy that we view as a potential franchise quarterback that we want to, you want to give. If you think he's going to be a franchise quarterback, you want to give him repetitions, right? Like now they might have thought, hey, we think we can win with him over Aaron Rodgers, but I think it was a combination of, maybe he can win right away, but long term we like this guy.
Yeah,
I think if Carson performs this way for a couple more weeks and the team is performing this way and they're 4-1, you can still look at it and go, you know what? At this very moment, at week 7 of this 2025 season, Carson Wentz at this moment gives us the best chance to win. We still believe in J.J. McCarthy long term, and I think you go that approach.
Yeah, and that's what I would do as well. And again, it's unfortunate for the player that gets injured, but to me, it's a business about winning, right? Yeah. And it is. It's just, if let's say you put JJ back in for that game against Philadelphia, and let's say his performance is similar to what we saw in the 7 quarters rather than the first quarter, you lose to Philadelphia, and it's due in large part because he's not making plays. Well, then all of a sudden you go, well, we just gave a game away, and now you really create some controversy. You go, well, you can't start him again. Now we're 4-2. You might still be in first place in the NFC North. And then is it Baltimore after Philadelphia? Who do we have?
Well, then we go to Los Angeles Chargers, to Detroit, then home to Baltimore. That's a tough stretch to just throw him back in.
Right, tough stretch, especially if he does start against Philly and plays poorly. Then you almost put yourself in a place where, because it isn't the Minnesota J.J. McCarthy's. It's about everybody on the team. And guys are laying it on the line. They're in the training room. Sometimes it doesn't work. And you're going, well, wait, now I know this kid is your hand-picked draft pick and you want him to do well. And it bodes well for you if he plays well. But, man, I'm here to win ball games. And Carson was doing fine. I don't know what the hell we're doing here. And you get that kind of, I don't know if any players would say that publicly or maybe they would ever even feel that way. But I think it's human nature. The old, you don't fix something that ain't broke. So it will be interesting to see. And again,
the other part of this too is, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and it's not as though Wentz really went out and won a game yesterday. I mean, he managed the game well. He
played well.
They got up to such a nice lead. I mean, he was really good in that first drive. Didn't they score in their first possession? Yes. So he was fine.
Well, they got up and down the field a little bit thanks to some Bengals penalties.
Exactly.
But yes.
So that's a very good point. So it really had.
But he didn't make any glaring mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. So
the other part of this too is my guess is Carson Wentz long term, based off of what's happened in his career the last 4 years, that he's probably not the guy. But he is just 32 years old. Like there's still quarterback years left in him, especially when these quarterbacks can go to their 40 now. He at one point was a highly thought of prospect. Like he has the physical tools. Like, it is possible, probably not likely, but there is a chance here where Carson Wentz just takes it over and is like, well, this is our guy for the next 5 years.
Yes.
Right?
I guess it could be. Yeah,
like,
I don't think it's likely.
He found something with KOC, the quarterback whisperer. And we've seen, Rich Gannon was a journeyman quarterback for most of his life and all of a sudden was...
Won an MVP?
Won an MVP late. Was he MVP or second MVP? I don't remember.
He won the MVP.
Right? I mean, like... Unlikely.
He got to the big game, but I don't think they won. I think they lost to Tampa Bay. But yeah, it's unlikely.
There's more stories of those guys falling apart than becoming an MVP candidate, but it does happen.
Sure.
And Carson is still at an age where there still might be something there.
And you know what, Timmy? He rooted for this team as a kid.
Oh, we love that story, don't we?
We love it. He rooted for this team as a kid. They showed all the pictures on CBS yesterday. They showed him
wearing his Vikings t-shirt.
His Viking thing as a little kid.
His Percy Harvin jersey.
And then he was in the stands. Yeah, and it's cute. It's all right. I don't mind those kind of feel-good type of stories. They're not my favorite. Sometimes they make me retch. That one didn't make me retch, but... Deuce and I, how the most fun we have during games is when they show the crowd shots and the people are all dressed up in like I mean, over the top. We'll go, look at those people. We act like it, because it is insane, but it's part of the fun, I guess.
The next picture we're going to see next week is a picture of Carson Wentz and Adam Thielen, who are both at the same Vikings game as children that just happen to be in the same section near each other.
Exactly.
And there's going to be a picture that finds the two of them near each other in the stands.
Or they'll just Photoshop it. To make just AI. Just AI to the story fits. We'll break, come back. Another hour to go. It's been fast-paced, action-packed, and, of course, controversial. It is the Common Man program, after all.
Hey, what's up? It's Mario Lopez. Back to school is an exciting time, but it can also be overwhelming, and kids may feel isolated, a vulnerability that human traffickers can exploit. Human trafficking doesn't always look like what you expect. Everyday moments can become opportunities for someone with bad intentions. Whether you're a parent, teacher, coach, or neighbor, check in, ask questions, stay connected. Blue Campaign is a national awareness initiative that provides resources to help recognize suspected instances of human trafficking. Learn the signs and how to report at dhs.gov/Blue Campaign.
Come on, why is this taking so long? This thing is ancient.
Still using yesterday's tech? Upgrade to the ThinkPad X1 Carbon. Ultra-light, ultra-powerful, and built for serious productivity with Intel Core Ultra processors, blazing speed, and AI-powered performance that keeps up with your business, not the other way around.
Whoa, this thing moves.
Stop hitting snooze on new tech. Win the tech search at Lenovo.com. Lenovo. Unlock AI experiences with the ThinkPad X1 Carbon, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, so you can work, create, and boost productivity all on one device.
Saks Off 5th is your secret to fashion's most wanted deals at up to 70% off. On the hunt for designer steals that'll turn heads and leave a trail of envy? Uncover Gucci, Valentino, Versace, Stuart Weitzman, and more, with new arrivals dropping weekly at prices too good to stay confidential. Luxe layers, statement boots, and tailored essentials from Saks Off 5th will put your wardrobe on the most wanted list. Head to SaksOff5th.com or a Saks Off 5th store near you for a style lineup you won't want to miss.